Hi guys, I'm still alive. I know I haven't posted a video in what, give or take 3 years. Um, I just thought I'd talk about my WCW VHS tapes. If anyone's aware of my channel, uh, I try to do VHS update videos when I have the time or the money. You know, single dad. I like to focus my time and attention and money on my children and not my hobby. But I still collect tapes. I haven't bought any for a long time. I'm expecting a package today of a few tapes I'm going to talk about. I still have all my tapes. I haven't gotten out of the hobby. Just, yeah. But I've realized over time that I haven't really shown all of them. So, might as well. I've shown them, but in like sporadically different past videos. They've been mixed in with like Godzilla tapes and horror tapes and Eurocrime tapes and other wrestling tapes. And I'm a big WCW NWA fan. Probably early 80s to late 90s. I think once the Vince Russo era took over WCW and they changed their Nitro set is kind of where I fell out of love with WCW. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble. These are all my tapes. I still to this day don't know if there's like a checklist of these Japanese tapes out there for WCW tapes, because I can't find it. And I can't find one, and I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what's still out there that I need. I know I'm missing some NWO. They're like compilation tapes from 97, 98. Maybe one day I'll get them. But these are like full events. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble anymore. We'll just show all these. I have a few. Let's just talk about them. So, these are both from 86. This is Great American Bash, 86. This is like a compilation tape of different matches over the summer of 86. It's been released in the States and, you know, in the UK and stuff like that. But, yeah. I've had this one for ages. I've had all these for a long time. I've never fallen out of love with collecting Japanese tapes. I just keep to myself and be a dad. I don't have the money to continuously buy tapes. So yeah. So this is Starcade 86. Admittedly, I might put some people off saying this, but I'm a huge Jim Cornette fan. I listen to his podcast, both of them weekly. I share a lot of his opinions, not all of them. He gets a bit too political for my tastes, but in terms of wrestling and old school territory stuff, it's a gold mine. I highly suggest listening to it if you don't. But this is Starcade 86. The best thing on here, obviously, is the Skywalker's match, the scaffolding match, Legion of Doom against Midnight. Yeah. These are nice little tapes. They're not that long. These Japanese tapes kind of cut down the event times. So that's 86. So I don't have anything 87, 88. I have no idea if anything was ever released for 87 or 88, but here's 89. So we got the Great American Bash, 89. Funk and Flair. I know Steamboat and Flair, that trilogy gets a lot of love, which I do love. They're great matches, but I also really love the Funk and Flair matches in late 89, mid to late 89 as well. This is a decent event. Good event. Nothing crazy. But yeah, and let me open these up. I'm going to put my phone down just for a second. So all these tapes look the same. Just blue and white. Nothing too out of the ordinary. But yeah, that's Great American Bash 89. Next, my very first WCW Japanese tape, Halloween Havoc 89. I love this event. I love the Halloween Havocs. Every single one. Eric Bischoff's been on record multiple times saying that when he took the company over in 94-ish, that he focused a lot of attention on Halloween Havoc and kind of pushed for that to be like WCW's WrestleMania. But I have such a big soft spot for Halloween Havoc 89. There's Mike Rotunda, Tom Zink. It doesn't blow you away, but it's a really solid wrestling match. Midnight Express and Dr. Death versus the Samoans. One of the best tag team wrestling matches ever until like the last minute when the Samoans were all out of place and they kind of screw up the finish. Oh well, they were green. You live and you learn. A phenomenal match. You have the cage match at the end with Bruno Sammartino and Flair and Funk and Sting and Muta. No, Flair and Sting, excuse me. Flair and Sting, Funk and Muta. And Muta famously spits his mist to put out a real-life unplanned fire because the cage caught fire. I love Halloween Havoc 89. It's a shame that the Legion of Doom is on the cover because their match is dreadful and ends in a disqualification and is a waste. But whatever. Future Shock, Starrcade 89. Really bad, if I'm honest. It's a really not good event. It's 4 tag teams and 4 singles, and it's a tournament, and you would think that for your big... Oh, there's my dog. Bronson. You would think for... Get out of here, you big dope. You'd think for Starrcade, it was 89, WCW still took huge pride in Starrcade at that time. It just is a total misfire of an event, in my opinion. The Great Muta, at this point in his career, was unbeaten, and they beat him, 3 times in one night, and just completely derail his WCW push. And he eventually went back to Japan and became an even bigger superstar there. Again, I'm a big Midnight Express fanboy, and Jim Cornette was on commentary for the tag team matches, but to not have them involved was a bit of a bummer. I think it was the Steiners. Let's see if I can remember. It's been a while since I've watched this event. The Steiner Brothers, Doom, the Road Warriors, and the Samoan SWAT team. I do like this version of Doom with the hoods. That's how I prefer to see them. And then the singles matches were Ric Flair, Lex Luger, Sting, and Muta. And it was just a tournament. It was like there was no variety, and it's a shame. So those are my 86, 89. This is the only 1990 tape I have of WCW. I don't know if they made... This is Starrcade 90. I don't know if this company made other 1990 events, but this is the only one. This was the what was it? The Black Scorpion? That came down in a pod that was like something out of Spinal Tap, and it was obviously Ric Flair in an all-black suit. This also had a tag team nations tournament, which was kind of cool. You got to see Conan early. Who else did you get to see? Rocco Rock represented a country under a different name. I can't remember. South Africa, I think. This one, there's Dick the Bruiser, who Bobby Heenan famously despised. This is before Bobby Heenan was involved in WCW, but yeah. This one was okay. The main event, I always get a kick out of the main event. It's Sting and Ric Flair as the Black Scorpion in a cage match at the end, and Jim Ross is going ballistic on commentary because he doesn't know how much time is left in the event, and he's like yelling at the crew to tell him how much time. It's classic late 80s, early 90s WCW shit show. So that's my only 90 tape. It bums me out. I love Capital Combat 90. I wish there was a Japanese tape of that. I don't think there is because of like RoboCop and rights issues, but I would love to have a Japanese tape of Capital Combat 90. That is one of my favorite pay-per-views. It's a mixture of really good and really bad. But anyway, Super Brawl, the original Super Brawl. This is another mixture event. Some phenomenal matches and some horrid matches. I remember Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton being a really good match. Is this the one with the Steiners? And yes, the Steiner brothers versus not Ric Flair, excuse me. The Steiner brothers versus Sting and Lex Luger was a really good match. Kind of ended in a screwy finish, but you know, that's WCW. I think El Gigante and Sid Vicious had a match that's famously horrible. Is Super Brawl the debut of Oz? Kevin Nash as the Wizard of Oz? I can't remember. I should have looked this stuff up beforehand. It's been a while since I've watched these events, but it's just what I love about WCW. It's just a beautiful mixture of train wreck and really good wrestling. It's just a spectacle. I just love WCW and how ridiculously good and bad it is at the same time. So next we have War Games 91. This is a really good event. I am really happy that these two guys, Stan Hansen and Vader, are on the cover because this is their follow-up match to the famous eyeball match where Stan Hansen hit Vader in the face in Japan and his eye came out of its socket and immediately, and he had to pop it back in and it swelled shut, and it's a very famous spot in wrestling history. But this is the follow-up match, and it took place in the States, and they just beat the tar out of each other, and Dusty Rhodes and Jim Ross were on commentary, and Ross was visibly, and you could hear him like afraid. They just beat the snot out of each other. It's a short match, but it's a really hard hitting match. One of my favorite WCW matches. I believe this is the War Games where Sid Vicious almost kills Brian Pillman by trying to give him a powerbomb in the cage and forgetting that the roof of the cage is low, and he drops him directly on the back of his neck. So yeah, Sid Vicious, a bit of an idiot. I like his matches though. He's a physical freak. Great American Bash 91. This is another one that's kind of a famously really, really bad event. I don't remember much from this. I should have rewatched this before making this video, but I haven't made a video in a while, and I wanted to make one, and I have a package coming in the mail today of a few tapes I need to talk about, but I remember this not being very good. Is this when Lex Luger had... Is this when the NWA and the WCW title was split? Is that the ugly WCW... Oh, sorry. Bit of a hair. I believe that's the ugly WCW. I hated the way that title looked. And it was... Is this the one where it's Flair and Lex Luger and it ends with blood? Because Lex was bleeding? I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys. I should have brushed up on my knowledge. No, I don't think this is the one. Anyway, I don't remember anything from the Great American Bash 91, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So we got Halloween Havoc 91, the Chamber of Horrors. This is a spectacle. This is another one where you've got a mixture of really good and really bad. This was Rick Rude's debut in the WCW. Sorry, not the WCW. I sound like Bret Hart. In WCW. The big electrified cage in the beginning with an insane amount of star power. Incredible. You had Abdullah the Butcher, you had Cactus Jack, Steiner Brothers, obviously, Sting. There's so many. I'm forgetting. Diamond Stud, who was Scott Hall, who would go on to be Razor Ramon and Scott Hall. I'm drawing a blank, but there was so many. It had the weird referee head camera, the referee. WCW is crazy, man. There was that, and then the match directly after that, I believe it was like a squash match with PN News and Matt Bourne, Doink the future Doink the Clown, against like the Creatures. The WCW is just nuts. And then Ron Simmons and Lex Luger for the title. It's worth at least one watch. Oh, here's a very unpopular opinion that I have that other people probably won't share with me, but I love Starrcade 91. The Battle Bowl lottery. I adore this pay-per-view. The teams on this pay-per-view are crazy. It's obviously a work. It's not real. But it's tag team tournament, and if you win, you advance to the end, and it's a double ring, and madness. The amount of wrestlers on here is staggering, and the talent depth that WCW possessed in the early 90s was shocking. How they didn't compete closer with WWF is mind-boggling, but a lot of people think this one's really bad. I think it comes full circle, and it's so bad it's good. So, yeah, I would recommend this at least once. I have vivid memories of Abdullah the Butcher. What was his name? I can't remember his name. Just beating the tar out of a wrestler with a kendo. Just beating him brutally. So that was 91. This is my 92 stack. Let's see. So we got Super Brawl 2, which this is a really good event as well. You've got on the cover, whoever's hot in Japan. Obviously, this is a Japanese tape, makes the cover. So you got Pillman, Liger, Sting, Lex and Sting for the title. I enjoy this. And then you had Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude. I love Rick Rude's little stretch with WCW before his back injury. It's a real shame. It's a real shame he got hurt and ended his career in, 94, I believe it was. But so this is basically Clash of Champions 19. And this was a big tag team tournament to see who would wrestle for the NWA tag titles. And it came down to, I believe, the Steiners and Dr. Death and Terry Gordy, which obviously those are the two best tag teams in that company at the time. So this whole thing is just a tag team tournament. This, I believe, it's Clash of Champions 19. It doesn't come out and say which one, but this is a decent event. It's got its ups and downs. It says part 1. I've never been able to find a part 2. I don't think part 2 exists. This is the whole event. This is Clash of Champions 19. And it's just a tag team tournament that was held to promote this pay-per-view, Beach Blast 92. This was kind of WCW's precursor to Bash at the Beach. I don't think they had Beach Blast 92 and 93, and then did they have Bash at the Beach 94? Was that when Hogan came? I believe. I could be wrong. Anyway, Beach Blast 92. I think is this with Sting and Mick Foley? Cactus Jack? Yeah, Sting and Cactus Jack had kind of a brutal no DQ match. Short match, but really good. That's the biggest thing I remember from this. Jesse Ventura. No, this was pre-Jesse Ventura. Was it? Or was Jesse Ventura on this card? Judging a bikini contest. Was Jesse Ventura in the company in summer of 92? I cannot remember. I know he was there for 93. Anyway, sorry, thinking out loud. So you had a bikini contest between Medusa and Missy Hyatt. And not just a bikini contest, but just a contest in general throughout the pay-per-view. Rick Rude is the United States champion here. This is a good card. I love 92. And then the main event is the tag title match between Dr. Death and Terry Gordy and the Steiner Brothers. The Steiner Brothers are phenomenal. This is their best stretch. Next, I have the Great American Bash 92. This says Part 2. Again, I've been collecting these WCW tapes for like a decade. I have never seen a Part 1 for sale, ever. And I've never found a checklist online to see what this company has released. But you've got the Great American Bash 92, Vader, the tag teams there. I haven't watched this one in quite a while, so I'd be lying if I told you I knew what these matches were. But these are cut down to 2-hour tapes, so some matches probably got shed. Looks like Sting and Vader. Is this like the King of the Cable match? They had that weird King of the Cable tournament. Man, WCW had such weird stuff in the early 90s going on. Weird. Man, is that Nikita Koloff? 92 Nikita Koloff is rough to watch. 86, 87's fine, but by the time he got to 92, he was... But yeah, there's that. Next. What's next? Halloween Havoc 92. It's surprising that Jake the Snake is not on the cover. This is pretty infamous for being Jake the Snake Roberts' only major appearance in WCW. I mean, he was on cable, he was on TV, but I believe this is his only title shot in the company. Is he even on the back? Oh yeah, there he is there. Him and Sting in the title match in a coal miner's glove match. Spin the wheel, make the deal type thing. Yeah. Who's that? That is... Oh, Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes. It's been a while since I've watched these. Oh, there's Barbarian. I'm a huge Barbarian fan. I know he's... if you ever watch OSW review, Barbarian's definitely in my boy stable. Yeah, this is kind of famous for not being a very good event, unfortunately. Yeah, I love Halloween Havoc, though. I love just the events, the vibe, the Halloween time, fall, autumn time, trick-or-treat, spooky stuff. It's right up my alley. So that's 92. And then we've got Starrcade, another Battle Pole, 92. I don't know why they didn't give up on this concept after 91. Admittedly, like I said, I love Starrcade 91, but I know I'm in the minority there. It's a pretty well-hated event. But we got Starrcade 92. There's Sting and Vader again. Those two really carried the company in the early 90s, to be honest, when Ric Flair was gone and went to the WWF. But what was Rick Rude screaming about? I can't remember. Was Rick Rude injured? Did he not wrestle on this? It's been a while since I've seen Starrcade 92. I should have rewatched this, but I know I haven't made a video in years, so I needed to make something. But Who that? Jushin Liger. I don't even remember who he's wrestling there. I might watch this tonight. I should have watched it already. Anyway, that's my 92. And then we get to 93, and the tapes look completely different. So we got Slamboree 93, a Legends reunion. So this was an entirely Dusty Rhodes' idea to bring back some older wrestlers. You've got Nick Bockwinkel there, Dory Funk Jr. Some wrestlers in the ring get, a plaque and accommodated, but there's some decent matches on here. Got Vader, British Bulldog. Oh, that's right. This was Sting against what was his name? The Prisoner, Nails from WWF. If you're unaware of why I just laughed, it's because Nails attacked Vince McMahon in his office in, what was that, late 92? Early 93? And then accused him of sexually assaulting him, which the information that is readily available now about Vince McMahon doesn't seem like too much of a stretch, but Nails was, like 6'8", 300 pounds. Vince kept himself in shape, but I don't think I think Nails could have hit him once and he'd have put him to sleep. But yeah, this is actually a decent event. I think like Jimmy Snuka and Don Morocco had a tag team match with someone, with Brian B. Blair, and there's some older wrestlers on here. And it's not horrible. It's not great. They're not wrestling to their full ability, obviously, because they're getting old, but it's not bad. It's not bad. There's worse pay-per-views. This is kind of a compilation tape of some Clash of Champions from 93. Sid Vicious comes back. He would flip-flop between companies multiple times, between WCW and the WWF, through the 90s. He just loved his softball matches. Sorry, it's the English coming out. Yeah, these are just matches from some Clash of Champion events in 93. None of them are... it's not from one single event. I think it's from the course of three separate Clash of Champions. Oh, let's see. There's a few dates here. Looks like August 18th, 93. Looks like June 8th. June 17th. August 18th and June 8th. I don't know. These are some TV Clash of Champion matches that made it onto a compilation tape. Next, we have Beach Blast 93. There's Jesse Ventura. I knew he was pretty prevalent in one of these. I always liked Jesse Ventura in WCW. He was great in WWF, but I think him and Tony Schiavone had great chemistry. And on Tony Schiavone's podcasts, which are terrible now, but about 7-8 years ago, his podcasts were really good. And he's told stories about how him and Jesse Ventura really got along well. The main attraction for this was the British Bulldog and Sting versus Sid and Vader. This was a decent event, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. I think Tony Schiavone liked Jesse so much because he got to do SummerSlam 89 with him, and Jesse really kind of helped guide him through. But this is Starrcade 93. This is very famous for the Ric Flair Vader match. Gosh, I can't remember this. Seeing Hawk and Knobs there. Weren't they just recently in WWF together before the end of 93? Anyway, Big Boss Man coming back. Poor guy, had to go through a couple gimmick changes before he chose You know, before he went to WWF, he was Bubba Rogers, so I think he went back to Big Bubba or something. But yeah, the Vader Ric Flair match on this event is phenomenal. One of Ric Flair's best matches and least talked about matches. But yeah, that's all my WCW tapes, guys. I hope to get more. There they are. Sorry for the 3-year delay in videos. I've got another one coming as soon as my mail arrives. So yeah, take care.